We're back on 11 of the last 20, and it's time to dive right into the top 3 baseball position players on our list. Next up, this Garden Spot Spartan not only was a hitting machine for 4 years, but made plenty of spectacular plays at shortstop.
Number 3, Garden Spot's Brock Kaufman, future All-PSAC at East Stroudsburg University.
Brock Kaufman. Oh yeah, I know a lot about that dude.
Ooh, that pitch is drilled in the gap in left center field. Ocker on the run is not going to get it. Kaufman making the turn at second. He is headed for third. The throw is going to be late. It's going to be a triple for Brock Kaufman.
I had sons who played high school baseball that were the same age as Brock when he was at Garden Spot. So I had the privilege of coaching against Brock since he was like 10 years old. And you could see from an early age, this kid was a stud.
Rounded to short, smothered by Kaufman, 1 to first. They got the double play. What a smooth turn.
He had everything you look for in a baseball player, all of the physical skills, but really the thing that stands out to me with Brock is his mental approach. He is tough as nails. You never saw things bother him on the field. He may occasionally, and I say very occasionally, boot a baseball. You'd never know. Next ball, 5 more hits to him the same inning, and he'll make every play.
Brock Kaufman with the backhand. 1 pitch, 1 out.
So his mental approach was just something that you just don't see a lot of in high school baseball. And he was just so tough.
4-year starter, which is something that you don't really see all the time in high school baseball, but a tough competitor.
Tagging at third is Kaufman. He will come in to score.
Good power, good average, and again, another guy I think was kind of underrated defensively because you look at him physically, he might not look like a shortstop, but he covered a lot of range.
I remember just being totally impressed by this kid. More so just his leadership. He could hit, he gave him some good pitching, good arm, good at shortstop. He was a real nice player.
What really stood out to me is the type of player Brock was. Real gritty, guy we would have loved to have play high school for us. I really thought when I watched him, felt like, boy, there's a guy that plays the same style of baseball we play. So he was fun to watch.
He led that Garden Spot team. He threw him on his back and said, fellas, let's go. Because they had some top end talent at Garden Spot when he was there, but maybe not always the amount of talent on the full roster of some of the other teams. But with Brock, it really didn't matter because he was leading them, and you either got with him or you got lost.
Number 2, Warwick Zach Shank, future draft pick of the Seattle Mariners.
I don't think you can talk about Zach Shank without talking about what a Gold Glove fielder he was at shortstop. Warwick's had some awesome shortstops over the year, and not only with his glove, but clutch hitter.
Left center field. Going back to the fence, looking up, and it is gone! Zach Shank with a 2-run blast.
A solid gap hitter with some pop.
The thing I remember most about is him being in the middle of that lineup of that 2008 Warwick District Championship team. They had guys up and down the lineup, but he really was kind of the glue that kind of binded them together and really got things rolling for the Warriors.
Smooth, very smooth shortstop defensively. Another guy that is athletic, a clutch hitter, and deceptive power for his size.
That ball is well hit deep to left field. Stahl just looks up, and that ball is gone. Zach Shank, home run over the 360 mark in deep left center field.
But also a very clutch hitter. When Warwick needed a base hit, Zach would come through.
Zach had a lot of skills offensively, but he was another kid who defensively at shortstop was just so athletic in his range. He was a tall, lanky kid, but he had great footwork and he got to a lot of balls.
AAA level says a lot about him and all he brought to the plate. And I remember Shank and Stuckey, I'm going to date myself, but way back when Coach Brown started running little kids camps in the summer, he told me about these 2 kids that I was going to come help me. He says, where do you see the Shank and the Stuckey kid? They might have been like 10, 11 years old, but even then they just showed like the ingredients you want: grit, determination. They were willing to get dirty, work as hard as they needed to, drill.
Shank into second with a double, and his night remains perfect.
When things weren't going well, they took it upon themselves to go to a batting cage somewhere and take their aggressions out, but did it in a manner that allowed them to get better. They didn't go in angry. They went in and worked at a specific thing, and that's what it takes to be good at any sport.
Number 1, Ephrata's Nate Fosnot, future 8th-round draft pick of the Philadelphia Phillies.
Well, when I hear the name Nate Fosnot, I think of a guy that just lived and breathed baseball.
Nate Fosnot, one pitch, and he deposits it into left field for a solo home run.
Nate's a 5-tool player. He could really do it all. Offensively, had a lot of pop in his bat, could run, and defensively, I remember just having a ton of range at shortstop.
Ground ball to short. Fosnot with a throw across, and there is out number 1.
And then he had a cannon to go with it, so he was the all-around player.
He was one of those 4-year starters for Coach Shelley at Ephrata. And you saw him as a freshman, and he was pretty raw. He was kind of a thinner kid and had not grown into his body, but you could see he had some raw skills. And you just saw, it was so cool to see through the years as he just developed. His body matured, he got super strong.
Fosnot really hits that one high to left field. We'll see if it carries. And it is gone. Nate Fosnot has to be your MVP of the game, as he has just hit a 3-run bomb against the defending league champs.
You don't want to give in to Nate Fosnot. And you just really saw all his baseball tools come into play.
This kid was a 5-tool player. I think maybe underrated defensively. Good pop in his bat, athletic.
You coach long enough, every once in a while you get handed a player with, a lot of special gifts. And we knew he was going to be a really good player. But as he started to mature physically, there was a completely new dimension to his game. He was a guy who every team that we played feared.
If you're Colin Whiteside, you got to deal with the best hitter on the team and possibly in the LL.
And who, and you could scout him, but he still had some special abilities that it factor. And he battled through several injuries. We lost him the last game of his junior year in districts, and he came back, his senior year and put together one heck of a year and led us to a district championship in 2016, our first one. A real spectacular high school career, but then went on to have a fantastic All-American year at George Washington as a junior, and caught the attention of a lot of scouts, and was I think he was the 244th pick overall 2 years back by the Phils.
One thing about Nate, it's kind of legendary, the work ethic that he had. And you hear all the time with coaches that when your best player is your hardest worker, that's a great thing. And you heard so much about Nate putting the time in the weight room and taking endless amounts of ground balls and hitting balls off of tees. And when you have your best player doing that, on top of having those skills, you're just going to be ahead of the ball game.
Feel fortunate that we had a chance to be blessed by his presence. I know that our teams during his 4-year career were highly successful, and part of that is due to him, but the other factor is a lot of our guys became much better, partly because of him, but partly because they took his lead and they believed in what we were doing.
Fosnot with the call, the squeeze, and the effort amounts are the Lancaster 11 League champions in 2015.
What an impressive tournament from the Mounts, and they are your 2015 champions, and look at how happy they are. So there you have it. Ephrata's Nate Fosnot, one of the best baseball position players to ever hit the diamond in our coverage area, and number 1 on our list. Thanks so much for joining us today on 11 of the Last 20. I'm Chad Landers. Come back next time as we dive deep into a new sport and start the countdown once again to see who's number 1.